Good evening. We will discuss in intermediate accounting a topic and illustrative problem about deferred tax asset. So let's discuss this problem about Eureka Corporation. Aside from their line of business, Eureka Corporation owns a commercial building being rented by some individuals and business entities. In this connection, the company received an advance rental income of 600,000 pesos on December 29, 2020 that covers year 2021. Accounting income subject to tax in 2020 is 5 million pesos, while in 2021, it is 7 million pesos. The question in this problem is, what is the taxable income in 2020 and 2021? Question number 2. What is the journal or what are the journal entries in 2020 and the net income after tax? Question number 3. What are the journal entries in 2021 and the net income after tax? Let's proceed to the solution. Let's answer question number 1. What is the taxable income in 2020 and 2021? So let's present the computation of the taxable income because what is given in the problem is the accounting income of 5 million and 7 million for 2020 and 2021 respectively. The accounting income for 2020 as given in the problem is 5 million pesos, while in 2021, it is 7 million pesos. So, if this is the case, the taxable income will become 5,600,000 pesos in 2020. Why? Because we consider the 600,000 pesos advance rental collected by the company. Under the tax rules, advance rental income is taxable. That is why it is included in 2020 taxable income. When it comes to 2021, the taxable income will become 6,400,000 pesos because we will deduct from 7 million the amount of 600,000 pesos advance rental income because that advance rental income of 600,000 pesos is taxable for the year 2020 and not for the year 2021. Because in this presentation, the accounting income of 5 million pesos does not include the advance rental that was received by the company. While in 2021, in the 7 million accounting income, it includes the 600,000 pesos advance rental received by the company. So, in this case, we will follow the rule. If the taxable income is higher than the accounting income in the current year, a deferred tax asset arises. In this case, the taxable income in 2020 is higher than the accounting income. That is why we will recognize deferred tax asset in this particular problem. In the previous problem that we solved, what we have recognized is deferred tax liability, because in that problem, the accounting income is greater than the taxable income. But in this problem, the taxable income, we can see it in this presentation. The taxable income of 5,600,000 pesos is greater than the accounting income. Accounting income, as we have said, is computed based on the accounting standards, while taxable income is computed based on taxation law. Let's answer question number 2. What are the journal entries in 2020 and the net income after tax? Let's compute, or let's present the journal entry. Debit income tax expense. So we will use the old rate of 30%. Debit income tax expense 30% multiplied by 5,600,000 pesos. So debit income tax expense, that is 1,680,000 pesos. And we will credit income tax payable 1,680,000 pesos. This is the journal entry for 2020, recognizing income tax expense. This amount of 1,680,000 is the amount to be remitted or to be paid to the Bureau of Internal Revenue. That is why we credited income tax payable. The basis in the computation of income tax expense is always the taxable income. In this case, it is 5,600,000 pesos. And then we will recognize deferred tax asset 30% multiplied by 600,000 pesos. The 600,000 pesos represents the temporary difference, which is the advance rental paid by the customer of Eureka Company. So 30% of 600,000 pesos, debit deferred tax asset 180,000 pesos. And we will credit income tax benefits 180,000 pesos. So how can you present the income tax benefits in the income statement of this company? The income tax benefit will be presented in the income statement as a deduction from income tax expense. That is how we present this particular account title, income tax benefit, in the income statement of Eureka Company. Let's continue. So let's now present the net income after tax. The income before tax is 5 million pesos. That is the accounting income given in the problem. We will consider and deduct the income tax expense, and this is the presentation. The current tax expense, as we presented in the journal entry, which was computed by multiplying 30% income tax rate multiplied by the taxable income of 5,600,000 pesos. The current tax expense is 1,680,000 pesos. We will now deduct the income tax benefit. As we have said, the income tax benefit shall be presented as a deduction from the current tax expense. 1,680,000 pesos minus 180,000 pesos. That is 1,500,000 pesos. The income tax expense therefore is 1,500,000 pesos. The net income after tax is 5 million minus 1,500,000 pesos. The net income after tax is 3,500,000 pesos. In order to check the accuracy of the income tax expense, try to multiply 5 million by 30% and you will result to 1,500,000 pesos. Number 3, what are the journal entries in 2029 and the net income after tax? These are the journal entries. We will debit income tax expense 30% of 6,400,000 pesos. What can you notice? The income tax rate of 30% was multiplied by the taxable income of 6,400,000 pesos. Debit income tax expense 1,920,000 pesos. And then we will credit income tax payable 1,920,000 pesos. Another journal entry shall be effected. We will debit income tax expense. By this time, we will multiply 30% by 600,000 pesos, the temporary difference, which represents the advance rental. 30% multiplied by 600,000 pesos. That is the amount of income tax expense. Debit income tax expense 180,000 pesos, and we will credit, we will close the deferred income tax asset. We will zero out the deferred income tax asset 180,000 pesos. Next, we will now present the net income after tax. The income before income tax as given in the problem. This is the accounting income. This is 7 million pesos. We will deduct the income tax expense. So the income tax expense, the amount of income tax expense shall be based on the journal entries that we presented in the previous slide. So under the income tax expense, we have the current tax expense of 1,920,000 pesos as presented as journal entry in the previous slide. And then we will consider the decrease in deferred tax asset that will be presented as an addition because we debited income tax expense in our journal entry. So we will add decrease in deferred tax asset. The total income tax expense for the year 2021 is 2,100,000 pesos. Therefore, the net income after tax is 4,900,000 pesos. Try to check the accuracy of the computation of income tax expense. When you multiply 7 million by 30%, you will arrive at 2,100,000 pesos. So let's present another problem. This is about Belinda Company. this Belinda company is the case of deferred tax asset and deferred tax liability. Let's read the problem. Belinda company reported the following for the year ended December 31, 2021. So here we can see the accounting income per book, 6 million pesos. Non-deductible expenses, this is life insurance premium, 500,000 pesos, because according to the taxation law, life insurance premium is not a deductible expense. Non-taxable revenue, interest on deposits, 300,000 pesos. Also, according to the taxation law, the interest on deposit is not taxable. And then we have doubtful accounts expense, 200,000 pesos. And then we have estimated warranty cost that had been recognized as expense in 2020 when the product sales were made but is deductible for tax purposes when paid, 400,000 pesos. What is estimated warranty cost? This is the amount of future cost to be incurred by the company. This is applicable to those companies selling appliances. They provide 1-year warranty. In accounting, the 1-year warranty is considered warranty cost. So let me clarify. The estimated warranty cost is not deductible as an expense for tax purposes. However, it was deductible upon actual payment. Next, we have accounting depreciation, 600,000 pesos. We have tax depreciation, 800,000 pesos. How can you distinguish accounting depreciation from tax depreciation? Accounting depreciation is the amount computed by the company, while tax depreciation is the amount computed by the BIR examiner. So it so happened in this case that the amount of depreciation computed by the BIR examiner is greater than the depreciation computed by the accountant of Belinda company. Next, gross income on installment sale included in accounting income but taxable only in 2021, 100,000 pesos. So this gross income on installment sale is not yet collected. For tax purposes, it is not taxable. It will become taxable only upon collection. Our income tax rate to be used in this case is 25%. What are the requirements? Number 1, compute for the taxable income. Number 2, prepare journal entries. Those are the 2 requirements in this problem. Let's proceed to the solution. So, let's compute. The accounting income per book as given in the problem is 6 million pesos. We will now consider the permanent differences. So we will now enumerate what are those permanent differences that are given in this problem. Non-deductible expense is a permanent difference. What do you mean by permanent difference? This particular difference will remain difference regardless of the year. As compared to temporary difference, the temporary difference may be a difference this year, but will no longer be a difference the following year. So when we say permanent difference, in the case of life insurance premium, regardless of the time, life insurance premium is always non-deductible expense per BIR ruling. So in this case, The permanent difference, which is life insurance premium, is 500,000 pesos. We will consider this in our computation. Another permanent difference is the non-taxable revenue, which is the interest on deposit. It is non-taxable because it is already subjected to 20% final tax. It is not subject to income tax. So the amount given in the problem is 300,000 pesos. This is presented as a deduction because this is not allowed as revenue. 500,000 is added because this is not allowed as an expense. That is why they are presented just like that. So we will get the amount, the accounting income subject to tax in this case is 6,200,000 pesos. We will now consider also the deductible temporary differences as given in the problem. So, per tax rules, doubtful accounts is deductible, provided the doubtful accounts is originated from accounts written off. So, this 200,000 is a deductible temporary difference. And then we have estimated warranty cost, 400,000 pesos. Next, let's continue. Excess tax depreciation. This is also considered taxable temporary difference. The first two items, doubtful accounts and estimated warranty costs, are deductible temporary difference. While in this case, we will present the taxable temporary differences. Excess tax depreciation. The amount computed by the BIR is 800,000 pesos. The amount computed by the company is 600,000 pesos. We have a difference of 200,000 pesos. It is deducted because these are taxable temporary difference. Next, gross income on installment sales. It is also presented as a deduction because these are considered income on installment sales per tax ruling. They are considered temporary difference. So we have 200,000 and 100,000 pesos. The taxable income after considering all these temporary differences is 6,500,000 pesos. So let's go back to the previous slide so that we can see the difference between the taxable income and the accounting income. So here we can see the accounting income subject to tax is 6,200,000 pesos, while the taxable income here is 6,500,000 pesos. Let's continue. So let's explain further. Doubtful accounts is added to the accounting income because this is not allowed as deduction per tax law, but will be deducted in the future when written off. This is a temporary difference. So that is the logic why it is added. Another one, estimated warranty cost is added. This is likewise not allowed as deduction per tax law, but will be allowed in the future when actually paid. This is a temporary difference also. Because the BIR, as I have said, estimates are not allowed as deduction. It will be allowed only when there is an actual cash payment. And then we have excess depreciation. This excess depreciation is deducted because the amount allowed by BIR of 800,000 pesos is bigger than what has been deducted by the company of 600,000 pesos. The difference of 200,000 pesos will be an additional deduction, which is a temporary difference. That is why you can see it is presented in a negative sign, meaning deduction. And then, gross income on installment sales of 100,000 pesos is deducted because this is not taxable under the law. It is not taxable. That is why it is presented as deduction in our computation. This will be subject to tax upon collection the following year. As I have said, as we have said, taxation law is more on cash basis of accounting. Let's now prepare journal entries. The first one, debit income tax expense, 1,625,000 pesos. Credit income tax payable, 1,625,000 pesos. And this is the computation. 6,500,000 multiplied by 25%, that is 1,625,000 pesos. What is 6,500,000 pesos? That is the taxable income that we have computed in the previous slide. So let's go back to the previous slide so that we can see. So that this is the taxable income. This is the basis of the computation of 25%. That is why our entry is debit income tax expense 1,625,000 pesos, credit income tax payable 1,625,000 pesos. As we have said, 25%, the income tax rate that was given in the problem, multiplied by 6,500,000 pesos, the amount of taxable income that we have computed a while ago. The second journal entry, debit deferred tax asset. The amount is 150,000 pesos. Credit income tax benefit, which is a contra expense account, 150,000 pesos. So where did we get 150,000 pesos? So here is the computation. Doubtful accounts is 200,000 pesos. Estimated warranty cost, 400,000 pesos. So the taxable temporary difference, 600,000 pesos, multiplied by the tax rate of 25%, the deferred tax asset is 150,000 pesos. So this is the basis of the amount that we use in the journal entry presented in the previous slide. Let's explain further. A deferred tax asset of 150,000 pesos is created because the taxable income will become bigger than the accounting income as a result of this temporary difference of 600,000 pesos. This is the explanation. The taxable income will become bigger than the accounting income. In accordance with the ruling, we will create deferred tax asset. These are not deductible. Doubtful accounts and estimated warranty cost per tax law that makes taxable income bigger than accounting income. They are added again because they are not deductible. And we created deferred tax asset because the taxable income is greater than the accounting income. Journal entry number 3. Debit income tax expense 75,000 pesos. Credit deferred tax liability 75,000 pesos. So this is the computation. How we arrive at 75,000 pesos. So the excess tax depreciation is 200,000 pesos. That is 800,000. The BIR computation minus 600,000. The company's computation. Gross income on installment sale as given in the problem, it is 100,000 pesos. The total taxable temporary difference is 300,000 pesos. Multiplied by the tax rate of 25%, the deferred tax liability is 75,000 pesos. Why deferred tax liability in this case? Because the excess tax depreciation and the gross income on installment sale is a contributory factor to make the accounting income greater than the taxable income. In that case, we will create deferred tax liability. So let's explain further. The amount of 800 depreciation expense is allowed by the tax law, but the amount recognized by the company is only 600,000 pesos, having an additional deduction of 200,000 pesos. That is why this is deducted from the accounting income. A deferred tax liability is created because the accounting income became bigger than the taxable income because of this temporary difference. I have explained this a while ago. The gross income on installment sales of 100,000 pesos makes the accounting income bigger than the taxable income because this is not taxable per tax law, hence creating a deferred tax liability. As I have said, these two items are contributory factor to make accounting income greater than the taxable income. That is why we created deferred tax liability. This is now the income statement presentation. The income before income tax as given in the problem is 6 million pesos. We will consider the income tax expense. The current tax expense as we created in our journal entry is 1,625,000 pesos. We will deduct the income tax benefit of 150,000 pesos because the income tax benefit is a contra expense account. And then we have the deferred tax expense or the deferred tax liability that we have computed 75,000 pesos. This is an addition. So, the total income tax expense for the year is 1,500,000 pesos. We will deduct this from the income before income tax, which is also the accounting income of 6 million pesos. The net income after tax is 4,450,000 pesos. Try to check the accuracy of the computation of income tax expense. Multiply 6 million by 25% and you will arrive at 1,550,000 pesos. So what is net deferred tax expense or benefit? The difference between the change in deferred tax asset and the change in deferred tax liability is the net deferred tax expense or benefit. So let's use the preceding illustrative problem so that we can fully understand the net deferred tax expense or benefit. So the tax benefit from increase in deferred tax asset is 150,000 pesos as we have computed. And then the tax expense from increase in deferred tax liability is 75,000 pesos. So the tax benefit from increase in deferred tax asset is greater than the tax expense from increase in deferred tax liability. That is why we have net deferred tax benefit of 75,000 pesos. So, let's imagine the reverse situation. If the tax expense is greater than the tax benefit, we have net deferred tax expense. Current tax liability and current tax asset. What are these? So let's understand again. A current tax liability is the current tax expense or the amount of income tax actually payable to the BIR. That is the one recognized as a liability in the statement of financial position. This is classified as current liability. So this is the one that we discussed in the previous slide. Next, income tax for corporation is payable every quarter in accordance with the tax law. If the amount of tax already paid for the current period exceeds the amount actually payable for the period, the excess is recognized as a current tax asset. We have an excess payment to the BIR. That is current tax asset. So let's have an example so that we can understand. For the first 3 quarters of 2020, the total amount of income tax paid by Cindy Corporation is 1,500,000 pesos. But because of the reduction in tax rate, the recomputed amount of income tax for the whole year is 1,300,000 pesos. So what can you notice? The amount paid for the first 3 quarters is 1,500,000 pesos. But for the whole year, it is much lower at 1,300,000 pesos. The difference of 200,000 pesos is recognized as current tax asset and classified as current asset. That is how we compute. That is how we determine the origin of current tax asset. Okay, let's continue. So, how are we going to present deferred tax asset or liability? PAS 12, paragraph 70, provides that when an entity makes a distinction between current assets and non-current assets, current liabilities, and non-current liabilities, it shall not classify deferred tax asset as current asset and deferred tax liabilities as current liabilities. That is very clear. Let's repeat the provision so that we can memorize what has been said by PAS 12. when an entity makes a distinction between current assets and non-current assets, current liabilities and non-current liabilities, it shall not classify deferred tax asset as current asset and deferred tax liabilities as current liabilities. That is the ruling. Accordingly, a deferred tax asset shall be classified as non-current asset and deferred tax liability as non-current liability regardless of reversal period. It is always non-current. So, a deferred tax asset and a deferred tax liability shall not be discounted. It is always non-current regardless of the reversal period. So what is the logic? The logic behind is that a deferred tax asset and a deferred tax liability is a recurring event that happened almost every year. Its existence is continuing in nature and would cover the whole life of the business. That is why it is always non-current asset and non-current liability. So let's give emphasis on create law. This is now the new tax rates. CREATE stands for Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises. This is applicable only for corporate entities. So the income tax rate is 20%. The effectivity is July 1, 2020. So the criteria is net taxable income not exceeding 5 million and with total assets not exceeding 100 million pesos. The applicable income tax rate for these corporations is 20%. And we are referring to domestic corporations only. Next, 25%. Effectivity is also July 1, 2020. So this is applicable to all other domestic corporations and resident foreign corporations. So that ends our lecture for this evening. So we will continue our discussion. I hope you learned something in this short lecture. Thank you and good night, everybody. God bless.